When it comes to refrigeration, convenience is at the very heart of Adande refrigeration. A perfect choice for convenience retailers, Adande's patented modular units deliver so many efficiencies it's no wonder multi-site brands such as Get-Go and Sheetz are installing these temperature-stable, hold-the-cold fridges across their U.S. food courts. To find out how Adande can help you deliver great-tasting product for your customers, save you energy and space, and improve operational efficiencies, go to adande.co.uk or adande.com. Professionals in the know? Choose Adande. You're listening to Shop Talk Live, the podcast, brought to you by Global Convenience Store Focus. Shop Talk Live is a unique video and podcast series featuring senior retail executives in the global convenience, fuels, and mobility retail industry, hosted by Dan Munford and Carolyn Schneer. On this episode, we're going to journey to Switzerland to learn about Migrolino, a convenience company who has been constantly reinventing itself for nearly 15 years. Dan Munford is joined by guest host Christian Warning of the Retail Marketeers based in Germany to hear about Migrolino's offer and growth progress and strategy. In the original Shop Talk Live video, you will see amazing photos of the Migrolino stores you're about to hear about, so I encourage you to watch that video after this episode. You can find episode number 48 at globalconveniencestoreFocus.co.uk.
Well, we live in interesting times. And why is the Swiss market so innovative? We'll be talking about that today. But let me welcome my co-host, Christian Warning. Let me just introduce you. You're owner of the Retail Marketeers. You're also NAC's relationship partner for German-speaking markets in Europe. You are the world expert on your topic, and I don't know what we do without you. So it's I think really important to focus in on one of the biggest, most important parts of the European convenience business.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. I mean, we both have seen a lot around the world during your famous market focus tours together, and of course, all the other projects we have been gone through.
So we've got Migrolino, Sebastian Becker, who's member of the management board at Migrolino. Welcome to the program.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan, for having us. Thank you.
Let Christian say a few words about Sebastian, because I know you, Sebastian, but Christian knows you even better than me.
No, it's always nice. I mean, the one thing is meeting each other on site, learning from each other in Switzerland, but having a beer together in one of the next events, like the next show somewhere, talking and standing also in front of other retailers and debating and discussing, you immediately know who you are talking with. And Sebastian knows his business very well. And what we will see here, and that's a massive power for convenience retailer to being vertically integrated, being part of the Migros family.
Yeah, another huge business. Now, the other thing I say, Sebastian, is that you made a massive presentation representing the work that the team at Migrolino, led by Markus Leitzinger, have done over many years to get to the point that you're at, which went down extremely well at the NAC's Convenience Summit Europe event in Berlin. And what we wanted to do is invite you on Shop Talk Live just to give that a bigger global audience, because we think you're doing some very exciting things. So maybe we could ask you to take us through some of the latest stuff that Migrolino are working on.
Yes. So thanks for be given the opportunity. It's always great to present our convenience approach, and always to be said on behalf of the Migrolino crew. So we have everybody on board working really, really hard on a daily basis to actually grow beyond one limits. So I think it was well outlined from Daniel that we see mega trends that are sustainable, that stay, but we see others that may pop up as to be important, but then start to diminish as time passes. So we need to be really flexible nowadays. And as we go further into the presentation, maybe it makes sense to mention that we are part of the Migros cooperative in Switzerland. Migros is the biggest retailer we have in the Swiss market, with almost 30 billion in sales. And you could say Migrolino is the convenience house of the Migros cooperative. serving small formats with a concept. That's what we do under our Migrolino brand. And we have in the past 7 years also engaged with a second business unit, which we call wholesale, where we also enable provision of wholesale to customers that are not under the Migrolino brand yet. So we see ourselves as a fully vertically integrated business model. That's really important to us, and as a full service provider to our partners and customers. If we touch it a bit more in detail, we see under our franchising roof nowadays 3 different formats that we operate. So one is our Migrolino. The core surely is Migrolino. We are very fortunate to run all those concepts with the top energy providers in Switzerland. So we managed to have partnerships with Shell, Soca, Piccadilly in the southern part, and now just brought new to the market is our goods concept. Gonna touch on that later with more detail. And on the right hand side you see the our wholesale department, where we deliver a full service and a full convenience assortment to independent concepts or partners who are running their own concepts, so to say. And as we go, maybe what is also important to say, if we look at the other chart, is we do it with one procurement, one supply chain, and maybe that's also important with one accounting. So these are highly synergies that we try to realize. There we just wanted to show how we outlined our growth path. In the beginning, we founded Migrolino around 2009, when we went out of the joint venture with the domestic railway service provider and Valora at the time. So we founded the first Migrolino store in 2009 with the first partnership that we had with Shell. And we then moved on with quite a big expansion. So we had around another 150 stores that we are fortunate to do with the Migros. This is our fuel brand that we have under our Migros cooperative, and then moved on with a partnership with Soca and Piccadilly. And a key point in our growth path was the implementation of a fully automatic warehouse system. I'm going to outline later why that is a key to our value proposition. And in around 2017, we started to, what Daniel rightfully said, to increase the customer experience at our point of sales and to distinguish sites from each other. So to be honest, until then, we looked at a small shop with a forecourt as a box to potentially sell food, and were as brave as to present also fresh food. What we observed then is that the buying mission by the customers, they differ from site, from location, based on the environment they're in. So we started to implement our Go Future concept, where we really stretched on different store clusters, and under the store clusters we implemented the modularization of the assortment in order to really come up with the best offer per site. And after the automatization of our main logistics center, where we delivered all the shops from, so we don't have additional hubs, we do everything under one warehouse. We also added a frozen warehouse, and as well as the ultra fresh platform. That was kind of a game changer for us as well, because it enabled different assortments, new products that before that weren't able to be serviced to the partners efficiently. We had some digitalization. We also engaged in unmanned shop formats, which we're going to touch later. And now in 2020-21, we came up with our new concept, Goods, with a slightly disconnected approach to Migros, our current formats that are well known in Switzerland. So at the moment, we are running our concept sales with a bit more than 1 billion in sales, which surely is a reasonable size in the Swiss market. We have a headcount of almost 190 people that work for the concepts on every day. And we deliver to 390 almost franchise sites and almost 300 partners that we have on the wholesale. As I said, we use one supply chain for both to really realize synergies in order to propose the best possible value proposition also in the supply chain model. The growth path of Migrolino as a concept was really, really strong. So driven by the fact that we engage partnerships with the main fuel providers in Switzerland, the biggest brands, and that increased the growth path so much. But sites and spots that were not that interesting years ago may become very interesting in the future, because people may not move every day to their work environment anymore and may stay at their place. And so the rural areas also become more upmarket. And I think it's good that we now can touch our core concept with Migrolino. So that is key at the time to really come up with a customer experience that is different from competitors. And what we do under the Migrolino is we incorporate Migros own brands that are perfectly known for the Swiss consumer. We implemented own brands with Migrolino, especially in the key categories. And obviously, we also offer the commercial brands where we say that the customer need is given in order to provide those brands to have the customer retention as well. We also go as far to also engage brands that have their awareness, that really we piloted that obviously before that as well, and we saw that one thing is to have a really good coffee bean and to have great quality in the product itself that you serve to your customer, but another thing is the brand recognition, and Starbucks is just really, really strong in that sector. So we were really fortunate to have an exclusive ride with Starbucks at gas stations in Switzerland. And you also see bread that we bake off freshly every morning in our shops. I think Roger touched on that as well. So the bakery part in Switzerland is really important, is a key category, especially in the morning. And you see in this store a small module of our ready-to-eat module, where we really concentrate on the sandwiches, but also on the healthy parts.
Just a quick question from me, Sebastian. Switzerland's slightly different in the inflation hasn't been so high in Switzerland. Do you still see a lot of the trends as being very similar in the Swiss market?
Yes, absolutely. So I would say in terms of consumption, I could have ticked all his findings that he presented when it comes to sustainability, fresh food, high quality food, even at an environment with a forecourt. So I think we always need to remember that 10 years back, that was hard to imagine. And nowadays, in the more sophisticated markets, that's almost given. And I think that's why Germany is so much a topic everywhere, because the market over there is not yet sophisticated and developed to offer great food and in small boxes. So in terms of that, absolutely. I think the inflation that we have in Switzerland, that's totally correct. We observe the same. It's the lowest we see in Europe. And another point that really is fortunate for us as a Swiss retailer is the fact that we have a high disposable income. So we have consumers that are happy to do their shopping. But let me mention that our pricing is really, really sharp. So we try to be rather closer to a retailer price perception than to the regular price perception that you may expect in a convenience store. So that is one of our main strategic pillars to offer our products at very fair prices and maybe that's one of the reasons why we engage in more than 100 million customer contacts per year with our concept formats.
And that gives the power of private label also. That's no other retailer so strong like you and comparable to many other countries, some starting very successful, but you have everything which is it gives you a high margin, vertically integrated. You can even produce the sandwiches and then deliver in the more with your fresh logistics and on the private label, and then you add on the beloved brands, the FMCG brands the customer also wants, yeah? And that gives you flexibility, isn't it?
Absolutely. And in the beginning, that's what I mentioned, 2017, when we started to engage with customer buying missions and the underlying modularization of the assortment. Nowadays, if you take that a bit further, the key is maybe the management of immediate and later consumption in the offer of the store, and that per site. So that may differ. I find the example really on target. The same customer may have a different shopping behavior in different sites. And then we also understand ourselves still as retailers. So we still have a household offer that we engage with. So it is really important for us to also, Roger mentioned that on Sundays, where our retailers or the bigger retail formats are closed, to be able to offer this really narrow shopping experience and to fulfill those needs. The meals that we offer, and in the very beginning, we already started with the drinks and the salads and the really already known food menus available at the time. So what we now try to do is to stretch into the hot food service that you see in the picture right now. So with the different processes and different expectation when it comes to point of excellence. So the excellence at the point of sale is really important. And Christian mentioned that we produce on site at different sites where it is needed, because the supply chain solution may not come up with the amount, or the fluctuation in sales are quite different from day to day. So and here you see a kind of a fusion concept where we have our Migrolino convenience offer, food convenience offer, but took it a step forward, a step further, to also offer hot meals and hot food. And that is, as you can imagine, in the middle of Zurich. So really surrounded by offices and residential area. So there's an offer you wouldn't play everywhere. And one example I always give when it comes to increasing the basket that we sell to customers, the thing of healthiness and sustainability is all around, and in all the surveys we foster and sponsor, we see that the customer have a more and more weight on those topics. But then if we come up with deals, it's always the croissant with the Red Bull that is outperforming a deal with a croissant and orange juice. So it is a stretch for us. We know what the customer wants to feel like when he enters the store. We know what the customer wants to look at when he looks at the shelf. But then there is a minor gap to what he then actually buys for himself. So, but you have to ensure that the world that he expects is presented when he enters the shop. So this in terms of further developments in our Migrolino. So the Swiss market is I would call it almost a red ocean situation that we have. It's a fierce competition, and we see that further expansion rather happens in smaller formats. So we had to be prepared to keep up with that momentum, and that's why we implemented Mio as a sub format, as a small format from our Migrolino. And you see here an impression how the shop feels like. This is a shop we managed to do with Shell together. Shell took next to Migrolino now also the Mio for the smaller formats. They were running under the Select brand until now. And we just incorporate all the knowledge we have from Migrolino, the core needed articles, the key value items that we must offer also on small formats to our daily consumers. And it is really good to also bring a new customer experience, even in smaller shops. It does make a difference. This is what especially the Swiss consumer, who is much more sophisticated when it comes to convenience shopping, expects from us in the future. And now the absolute opposite to what you have seen with our Migrolino concept. We were a bit under pressure because, as I said, we managed to have a great expansion with our Migrolino concept. And as you can imagine, it's something that also finds stagnation in growth at a certain stage because it's well known, and maybe the 300X Migrolino is not winning the race anymore. So we knew that we need to come up with something new to present a new concept. And you see here the goods concept, where we disconnected from the CI/CD that we have from Migros. We went more into the commercial brands, but foremost, this concept should actually serve customers who have a really healthy lifestyle, who want to feel at home, who want to feel welcome. And we, after some testing in the beginning, we now can say that we managed to bring this offer.
I mean, it's a perfect example then from getting away from the sea of sameness, isn't it? I mean, this is how retailer carefully listen to the market, analyze the market, analyze their stores, their numbers, and say, hey, we need something new. And then the customer experience here is a totally different than in the current stores, but bringing the best in, making something new, and make more money out of it, isn't it?
And there's been a lot of interest. I mean, a lot of excitement and interest in goods, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was maybe the driver also in Berlin. And here we incorporated mega trends such as sustainability, connectivity, with the digitalization around it, health, and the new work. We just saw the room that we offer to our customers to take a seat, to do a meeting, to recharge a battery, to be connected to the internet. So we don't do retail in this room. We just give the place to calm down or to be mobile, as we know currently. That's the mega trend that we see also for how to work.
Right. Even in the back, those chairs are very comfy. Dan, I was there, sitting there.
Yeah, so the target groups that we have for goods are regular customers and the walk-in customers. But we really engage in the trends, and we incorporate digitalization with the electronic shelf labels that we do, and also with the app that we have, contactless shopping and so on. And here we see our automated unmanned format. That one is at the Tesla supercharger station with almost 16 chargers. And for us, that's just gaining experience, to getting a grip, to feel the consumer who is coming up with an electric car that has to be charged 10 minutes, 20 minutes. How do they behave? How is their shopping mission unfolding? And this one is at the supercharger hub. And if we move on, we see another pilot we did in a residential area. We have 350 SKUs currently in this box. Technically wise, we could include 800 SKUs, but the current shopping missions that we observe, we found out that we perfectly fulfill the needs with the assortment that is now in the box. And
this is hugely interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it gives us new insights, shopping mission that wasn't known before. So And the app is actually serving almost only to the younger generations. So we offer both. You could just walk into the box and do your offer or your ordering. I think we know that from fast food chains, how that works. But we also offer it via app. So you could do your shopping prior approaching the box, which will give you a QR code, and the QR code will enable very fast shopping. And I think, as I mentioned a few times in the presentation, the supply chain model is key. You still have the customer, and you need to have the usability, and maybe that's a downside from that concept versus a walk-in concept, but we are looking at around 1 man-hour per day to have this running. That is including goods receiving. So I think this is really close to really being unmanned. But you need to have customers who are at least walking around with a smartphone or have once in their life seen a display ordering before. So, but if you have that experience, this will serve you perfectly. And I think it's also really easy to use once you read what's on the screen. It's a three-way shopping, a three-step shopping experience. So that's quite efficient.
And I guess these things take a while to develop, don't they? Just in terms of the consumer understanding what they can do and what's available, because you can't walk in and see it. But over a few trips, you realize the extent of the range and what's possible. And it's pretty interesting. Let's be honest.
It's like an online shop. You have the pictures. It's like an online shop.
Yes.
That you click through, and the stock is given out in less than a minute. So here I just wanted to outline strategic directions that we're looking at. So first and foremost is the food convenience and the food trends that are gaining, and the trends are getting more and more diverse. Healthy and sustainability are the keywords here. We have our expansion, our network expansion that we pursue with rather smaller formats, but also new spots that evolve. We have our digitalization with all the projects around it. It's almost hard to count all the projects that are running in our business. But maybe to summarize the effort that we put in, the main task is to easify shopping. It's not to overload potential digital offers. It's just to really focus on what makes it easier for our customer, and how does it help us streamline and easify our processes that we have as a retailer.
Well, have you got a trademark on that word, easify? Because I've been looking for a word that sums this up, and I think that's absolutely it. To be honest, you're right. That's what's required, and that's what every retailer is struggling to provide their customers with. And so the small format, we touched it, the automated or unmanned format, we looked at it. And to sum it together, I think if you look at the different format types that we pursue in future, if you look at the different expectation levels from consumers, I'm coming back to the point that I would say the state-of-the-art supply chain model is key to really serve the wide variety of offers that are coming up, and the different formats that receive the orders. And I think that should be something that everybody should engage in the future. Well, I think you've shown us a bit of the future today, Sebastian. Look, we'd love to have more time for questions, but we've had I think a really good insight into what you're doing, and very pleased that you're able to come and share it with us today. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you for listening to Shop Talk Live, the podcast. This episode was produced by Dan Munford and Nick Scherzer with support from Jenna Ferguson and Lorraine Evans. It was produced, edited, and mixed by Carolyn Schneer, and music was provided by Wolfgang Worley. Tune in every other week for new episodes, and please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, and learn more at globalconveniencestorefocus.co.uk.